hated because I'll get jumped on by people.
All
But
right.
while they don't have the fan base of teams like CLG, AL, TSM, Moscow
Uh-huh.
5, they were a really strong lineup. They brought out some big results. As I say, they beat CLG and AL at Gamers Assembly in France not so long back.
Hmm.
Um, they went 3-0 in their Kings of Europe group stage, if I remember correctly. And Moops filling in for SK yesterday in Vengeance Cup
Hmm.
dominated that mid lane
Yeah.
and helped SK 2-0 AL there as well. So they've got some really strong players in there. We'll see whether they can band it together and take down CLG.
Hmm. So, yeah, it's really nice to have somebody casting for the EU because I'm a little disconnected from the EU scene, so it's good that I can always bounce some ideas off you. And I'm kind of excited for this game. No. So, what kind of picks are you thinking of? Like, the times I did watch is I see Wicked with Renekton most of the time. Has been playing a lot of Aurelia lately. Froggen with Anivia, and their AD is pretty versatile. You see a pretty good mix.
Yeah, to be honest, both Froggen and Moops play really strong Anivias here. So
Hmm.
if she's left open, I would not be surprised to see her snatched up quite quickly by one team or the other.
Oh yeah,
But yeah, Wicky's got about his three champions: his Renekton, his Irelia, occasionally the Riven. But
the Rivet.
we'll see what he sits with. He's
No
interesting
more
enough. He's only a
GP.
Smurf.
I remember he played a
Ah,
lot of GP and a lot of tournament matches for a long time.
yeah, he hasn't played GP, or not that I've seen, in I want to say a month. But going by the speed of these patches, my time frames have screwed up slightly. But he has been a while since I've seen him play Gangplank.
Hmm.
He tried Kennen for a while, but it didn't really fit his style. And Lee Sin for the matter, he couldn't land any of the skill
He
shots.
couldn't land it.
But,
I actually saw that. I remember Lee Sin was huge for a while when Dignitas started using him in a lot of tournaments and were performing really well. And Lee Sin was one of the top bans for quite some time. And that was right around when I started seeing Wicked start picking up Lee Sin. And I tuned into the stream for a couple of hours and I'm like, oh my god, he's playing Lee Sin. This is gonna be cool. I was like, oh my god, he just missed his resonating strike. Oh my god, he missed it again. And I was like, oh, it's going downhill.
yeah,
So I figured, he probably didn't pick up Lee Sin.
no, it wasn't one that stayed in his repertoire for long. And there
Hmm.
you go. Anivia had been banned out. Last one, both teams just playing chicken with each other, and in the end, Sypher decided they're not going to leave it.
Yeah,
But
you leave Anivia and there's Frog on the team, they're probably gonna first pick Anivia. Unless there's like two
yeah,
champions that you absolutely think that your team wants and is gonna perform really well, you wouldn't want to give the other team their first choice and pick.
I was going to predict first pick Soraka, but they
First pick
decided to go with that
Soraka.
Mundo.
Is
Yeah, I
Soraka
mean,
big on the EU? Like for US side, it's almost always Janna that's getting first pick. Um, just Janna is such a strong support. I think she's one of the more versatile champion. Because she's got that shield, she's got the knockback. It's just a lot of escape. It's really, really hard to kill a Janna. When your team overcommits and try and kill a Janna and she knocks you away, you're burning a lot of cooldowns to get to her, and she's pressing one cooldown to get rid of like two or three that's chaining on her. So that
yeah,
that's
it's generally those two, Soraka and Janna. Though Janna's become less popular since the slight nerfs to
mhm.
a knock up, but there is still arguments raging all the time. And I mean, there was a couple of interviews over the weekend.
Yeah,
But Soraka, OP. That's generally the call that everyone's
Soraka's
given
OP.
because of the armor buff you get from that heal
Hmm.
is ridiculous. It's like 1,800 golds worth of armor if you were
It
to
is
buy
it
the
is
same
pretty big.
stats.
I'd imagine Soraka's really good against the AD heavy team. But then again, you can also pick Taric against the AD heavy team though. So for me, Soraka is still a situational pick. You get the armor buff, but it's not going to help you in every situation. Um, if they're really, really bursty type magic damage, Soraka is not bad either as long as you can stand the back and just provide that team aura. It's kind of weird.
She does sit well with the Protect the Cogmore lineup, which is what
Hmm.
CLG have here, but they are going to go with that Taric instead.
Yeah.
So we'll see where the rest of things are. But when you've got the long range poke from Varus, which I've only played him twice since release, and
Uh-huh.
obviously I'm not 2000 ELO. I'm just 1600, but
Uh-huh.
he seemed strong. I got great scores with him, but I couldn't quite carry the game round. The two defeats, but
I
I'm
think
always
one thing
positive.
about Varus is being a new champion, anyone that picks him up is gonna have the advantage in the aspect that the other team doesn't quite know everything about him. So if you build up a really, really good repertoire with, you know, Varus, you can pull out some stuff and people just wouldn't expect it, and you can do some mean stuff. I think the first time I played against Varus was the day it came out, and I was one of those guys that didn't even look up his skill set. I was beating him in CS, and like once he hits level 6, I'm like, what? What's going on? I got stunned here, and then I didn't even know I have a stun. So it took me a while to figure him out, but I still don't quite know exactly what he does. I went through his skill set. He's got a AoE slow in a circle. He's got a long range nuke that spears in a straight line. His ultimate stuns one person and chains to another and stun him. What's his other one?
His W is a passive that applies stacks
Oh,
of,
poison.
um, yeah,
And when you cast a spell,
stacks.
it does damage. Okay, I remember
Yeah,
that now. And I'd imagine with his passive too, when in a team fight, if it's an even team fight and people start dying, he's gonna get progressively stronger and stronger too. So I feel like he's sort of like Ashe, a similar skill set, but just a little bit stronger. Doesn't have as much slow, but the damage potential is just so much higher.
yeah. I mean, everyone seems to be comparing him to Ash, but while I don't want to say one's better than the other, I prefer his set. Okay, you don't have that arrow from cross map long range initiate, but if you team him up with someone like a Warwick or Shen, in fact, with a single target stun or root or CC of some
Hmm.
form, if you can catch that one person in that CC,
Yeah,
their team comes in to try and protect it. He can launch his ultimate on that one CC'd person, and anyone that's then trying to save that guy
it's gonna
is
get
chain snared.
yeah.
It follows it out. It builds up, and that's really, well, it's awesome. It's just a completely new mechanic,
Hmm.
which not everyone's figured out yet, and it's going to change gameplay quite a lot.
Exactly. Is one of those mechanics or is one of those champions that you release it, you don't know if it's OP or not yet. And you can get an OP factor just by people not knowing how to deal with them. And so it's like my feeling on Varus is just more of let's wait and see, let's see how he does within 2 weeks. Maybe he's a lot weaker than he is, maybe he's a lot stronger than he is, because it can go either way. You know, is one, people don't know how to play him correctly yet, so he feels weak, or two, people don't know how to deal with him, so he feels really strong.
Yeah, and that's how it goes. And we are. Well, we have got the rest of the pick complete. Mooch is on his Karthus, which, as I say, he plays a strong Anivia, but he plays an amazing Karthus as well.
Hmm.
Saw that from him yesterday. It's some big damage coming out of that, helping, again, carry SK through. But CLG, where are they sitting? So it's going to be an AP Cogmore. So they're going to go AP Cogmore to counter the poke on
Hmm.
Varus. They're going to poke each other all day there. Wicked, he is going to go on this Kennen, which, as I say, he tried and he gave it a go, but it was never one that really seemed to settle into his
Hmm.
regular rotation.
I'm actually
I don't know.
surprised. I feel like Sypher needs at least one more ignite, because Mundo is gonna be a pain to deal with. And so unless Shen gets a good ignite off every single time, if it gets to mid late game, Mundo's gonna walk all over him. Unless Varus gets Executioner's Calling, but it's just one of those items that's just very, very uncommon.
I don't know whether Haikyuu bot is going to do it or not, but I know Snoopy for a while
Hmm.
was toying with starting Vamp Scepter on Nocturne and building an
Yeah.
Executioner's Calling from that
Oh, you
because
can
he
do
had no,
that.
yeah,
You
because he
can do
had no
that as a
nothing else he
jungler.
wanted to build. Yeah. And it's like, well, I've got the Vamp Scepter. I don't want to build any other lifesteal items out of it. I am
Hmm.
against the Mundo. Why
Yeah.
not get an Executioner's Calling? But Liyumi's running Surge, and I was waiting until the delay period started
I
and
know. I'm
hoping
looking
that
at
would
it.
switch out.
I was looking at it. I was like, is he really running Surge? I've never seen it. I've seen Surge on Cogmaw, an AP Cogmaw, just because you get that AP, you get that attack speed, and the AP and attack speed actually multiplies with the W, and it does a lot more damage. But Surge on other champions is just something I don't see too frequently. I've actually seen Surge on Twitch too, just because you pop out, you hit R, you do massive, massive amount of damage, and you expect to die. So Surge is an interesting spell. It's more of instead of let's remove some damage which you would with exhaust, or let's keep me alive with heal. This is let's try and dump out as much damage as possible. I think since he has that passive that stacks debuffs before he can proc it with his spells, he can probably stack a lot more that way. So interesting how to see how Surge is gonna play out.
Yeah. I've seen it actually on a volleyball top as well,
Volibear
but
top.
that didn't go too well.
That didn't go too well.
Yeah, I was told as the picture went in, I'm sitting here in picture going, what? Why has this volleyball got surge and ignite? What? How, where? And chat exploded. Everyone's like, no, he's been playing this for ages. It's OP. It's OP. Yeah, it didn't really play out in the game. So we'll see whether Liumi can pull it off. I'm sure he's practiced,
Hmm.
and as many people are pointing out, it does boost his W just like it boosts Kog'Maw's. So
Hmm.
it's going to be a scary thought. And with the attack speed you get from Anunu as well, that combo in lane, it's going to be a scary one for Pete and Creeper to put up with. But they've got plenty of escapes. They've got the stun that will negate quite a bit of the damage if Creeper can land it properly. And,
Hmm.
quote SK's website, Creeper currently dubbed #1 support in Europe.
Oh, really?
You see some big plays coming out of this.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited for this game. I mean, I feel like these two are really, really strong teams, so this should be a really interesting first match. I'm looking at the comp right now. I'm smirking a little bit. Sypher's comp feels a little cheesy, but it can be very, very effective if they're just left to farm until level 6. It's just one of those comps where once you hit level 6, you have so much global presence that the other team, if they leave them be and do not gain an advantage before everybody on Sypher hits 6, it appears that they're just going to be able to all hit R at the same time. If, say, a gank happens bottom, Nocturne's going to be able to get in from long range. Karthus is going to be able to do Requiem from mid lane. And then Shen can actually use his ultimate to shield somebody. So, you know, mid lane, bottom lane is very, very well protected. The worst lane to gank as CLG.eu would be bottom lane, just because it's going to be assisted by mid and top. If you gank mid, it's only going to be assisted by top. So one thing you can expect to see is just a lot of pressure from CLG.eu on Cypher's mid and top lane, just because they're gonna, you don't want to gank a lane with so much assistance or global assistance, because uh, a 3v2 fight can easily turn into a 3v4.5 fight with Shen and Karthus in the mix.
Yeah, exactly. It's a massively global comp, but at the moment, CLG don't seem to be connecting, which is slightly worrying. Creepo Frogger here, but Pete Frogger and Wicked not quite making it in.
Hmm.
We'll
How,
see whether that goes through.
how do you think
Oh,
Frogger is gonna affect CLG.eu? I know they're a really, really strong team, but with a new player added to the equation, how would that affect the team, do you think?
if this was the first time he'd played with them, I'd be a little bit worried. See,
Hmm.
obviously, used to Snoopy's play style for so long. CLG have been a 5 like this. Sorry. Oh, still recovering. Have been a 5 like this for quite a while.
Hmm.
And yeah, that switch up normally you throw him off. But Frogger's been playing with, I think it's like the last 3 days now while Snoopy's in Vegas. And been filling in for a few scrims, a few tournaments, and it's been going really well. So
Yeah, that sounds
I
good.
don't think it's going to phase him too much at all. And I'd like to see your standard COG play. But as you say, they are lacking in Ignite.
Hmm.
Sorry, Sypher are lacking in Ignite. And Mundo,
Cypher
we've
is
seen
Yeah, Cypher is
get
definitely
very
lacking
strong.
Ignite. Mundo is just one of those champions you don't want to see get to that 40-minute mark. Once he gets that 4 or 5k HP, he's gonna be so incredibly hard to kill. He can just jump in and out, and it's just gonna be a pain to deal with. So the moment Mundo uses his ultimate, Cypher is gonna need Shen to just drop that Ignite right away, or it's not gonna go too well. This is
Your
actually my first
summoner
time
has reconnected.
casting with directed camera. I'm gonna test out and to see if it works well before I actually start moving around myself.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
I think the call dropped. Let me try and fix the call with Panky really quick.